Good morning, my Real News Midday TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning for another news update for Sunday, October 12, 2025. And I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a blessed Sunday. And in the news this morning, alleged gang leader Brico killed in clash with cops. Sources have identified the man fatally shot during a confrontation with the police in Kidston, St. Catherine on Saturday as Brian King, otherwise called Brico. King was reportedly the section leader of the Kidston-based Klansman gang, which operates across Kidston and the Top Banks area of Spanish Town. Law enforcement sources describe King as a key figure in organized criminal activities, including contractor killings, extortion, and armed robberies. According to the sources, King rose to prominence in the criminal underworld after the death of Sheldon Termite Walters in 2024, assuming leadership of the Top Banks fraction of the Klansman gang. He was listed as a person of interest by detectives assigned to the St. Catherine North Police Division in connection with a case of shooting with intent against the police. Intelligence reports have also linked him to several murders and violent crimes in the division, including the October 2024 fatal shooting of Rishon Dallas at Neesbury Grove, Kidston on October 31, 2024. King was also the main suspect in the murder of Kevin Smith at Neesbury Grove, Kidston on July 4, 2024, and the October 2023 killing of Theo Powell, also of Neesbury Grove. Police sources say King maintained a network of gunmen who carried out attacks and extortion operations on his behalf, mainly targeting business operators and rival gangs in the area. His death, the sources say, represents a major blow to organized crime networks operating in and around the Spanish Town, particularly those aligned to Klansman gang. King was fatally shot during a confrontation with a police team in Kidston about 1 p.m. on Saturday. An illegal firearm was reportedly taken from him. Father held after body of 13-year-old daughter found in Clarendon home. The father of 13-year-old Shantina Sargent, whose burnt and partially decomposed body was found behind her home in Baileystown, Northern Clarendon, on Monday evening, is now in police custody. The Old Harbour Police in St. Catherine confirmed that 46-year-old Lawrence Marcus Sargent was captured in the area late Friday following a manhunt that began after the shocking discovery. Shantina, who attended Excelsior High before moving to Christian High School in Manchester, was reported missing by her father on October 3. Her remains were found 3 days later among burnt debris behind the house they shared. Reports indicate that the police were called to the area after residents noticed a foul smell and flies near the premises. The body was found with burned marks and in an advanced state of decomposition. Residents of the quiet farming community were left horrified. "What a wicked act," said farmer Cleveland Messom, describing the tragedy as one that has shaken everyone to the core. Shantina's stepmother, Juliet Eunice, said she was devastated by the discovery. She revealed that she left an abusive relationship with Lawrence a year ago, but kept in touch because of their young son. She said Shantina had recently expressed a fear of her father, telling a friend she was afraid to go home. She said Shantina started living with her father this year. According to Superintendent Kerry Duncan, head of the Manchester Police Division, investigators are exploring all leads, including unconfirmed reports that the teen may have been sexually abused. "We don't have anything of evidential value to support that, but the father is in a position to help us to move the investigation forward," he said. Hanover man charged after fatal stabbing of tattoo artist during dispute. A fisherman from Hanover has been charged with murder following the fatal stabbing of a man during a dispute in their Bull Bay community on Thursday. The accused has been identified as 29-year-old Courtney Hermans of Bull Bay District, Hanover. The deceased is 27-year-old tattoo artist Danoy Wanaway Morrison. Reports from the Lucy police indicate that about 6 a.m., an argument between the men at their home escalated into stone throwing along the roadway. During the confrontation, Hermans allegedly pulled a knife and stabbed Morrison, who had fallen to the ground while trying to escape. Morrison was assisted to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Hermans was taken into custody and charged on Friday. The police said he gave a caution statement and participated in a question and answer session in the presence of investigators. Man held after cops seized gun, ammo and imitation firearms in St. Andrew raid. A man was taken into custody on Saturday after the police seized a firearm, ammunition, and several imitation guns during a pre-dawn operation on Colbeck Avenue in St. Andrew. A team from the St. Andrew South Police Division conducted a targeted raid at the premises about 5:45 a.m., a police statement said. During the search, the lawmen reportedly found one 9mm pistol, a 9mm magazine, 14 9mm cartridges, and 4 imitation firearms. The police say the man who was found at the location was taken into custody in connection with the seizure and is expected to be charged. Blake denies retaliation, alleges pattern of non-compliance by Cameron. Police Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake has defended his decision to declare the chairmanship of the Police Officers Association vacant, citing serious financial irregularities and a failure to provide accountability within the organization. In a sworn affidavit filed in response to a legal challenge by Senior Superintendent Wayne Cameron, Blake said the last POA annual general meeting in 2022 revealed glaring contradictions and irregularities in the association's unaudited financial accounts. This sparked a strong and contentious debate, and the presentation of those accounts was suspended with a resolution to present audited accounts within 3 months. However, Blake said no such reports have been produced since then, and no further AGMs have been held, contrary to the resolution and in breach of the expectations of the members. The POA represents over 350 senior officers from the rank of inspector up to deputy commissioner and is funded by salary deductions. 3 years later, according to Blake's affidavit obtained by the News, the association's accounts are now frozen on the advice of investigators to safeguard the funds. He claimed that Cameron, the only executive member with access to the POA's bank accounts, has refused to hand over control to the Secretary-Treasurer despite repeated requests. He insisted that his decision, announced on September 8 to declare the position of POA chairman vacant, was not motivated by spite, but was done to safeguard the funds contributed to the association by the membership. To have ignored the matter would have amounted to a gross dereliction of my duty. There was nothing clandestine or retaliatory in my actions, Blake said, noting that an investigation is ongoing. Blake also argued that the POA is not a legally established or self-regulated body like the Jamaica Police Federation, but rather a voluntary group that operates under the supervision of the Commissioner of Police. Cameron had claimed in an affidavit filed in support of his lawsuit and a grievance report to the Office of the Services Commission that he endured political victimization and harassment from Blake and the Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Chang. The OSC is the human resources arm of the government. Chang has rejected the claim as totally dishonest. Cameron also claimed that the police commissioner's attempt to unseat him as chairman of the POA was retaliation from the grievance he filed with the OSC. I have suffered occupational detriment. I have been victimized, harassed, being transferred against my will, and refused the promotion, he charged in the grievance report. As an example, Cameron indicated that in August 2023, he was among 10 senior superintendents who were promoted to assistant commissioner. But he said 11 months and 2 weeks later, he was removed from the post of Assistant Commissioner, a move he believes was a breach of police staff orders and was calculated to bypass an OSC circular requiring a permanent appointment after 1 year in a post. In addition, Cameron said that in December last year, the commissioner gave instructions that he should be transferred from his post of commander of the Ports Division to administrative officer for the Police Area 5. However, the senior cop said he objected to the transfer, which would have placed him under the command of an officer who was his junior, and considered it a breach of police standard operating procedures. But the police commissioner, in his response, said despite the disciplinary concerns, his genuine intention was to recommend to the Police Services Commission that Cameron be promoted to the rank of Assistant Commissioner and that he would take command of the Port Security Branch. He cited as examples internal disciplinary cases pending against Cameron stemming from separate incidents in 2020, claims that the senior cop went absent without leave for 2 weeks, and his alleged refusal to report for duty at the Police Area 5 in January this year after his transfer was announced. Cameron was tasked with working alongside outgoing Port Security Branch Commander, Assistant Commissioner Marlon Nesbeth, to formulate and commence implementation of a border security plan, and was told his promotion was conditional on him carrying out these duties, Blake said. He said despite these clear directives and the urgency of the assignment, SSB Cameron failed to provide the requisite support in the formulation and implementation of the plan and its consequential operations. The dereliction of responsibility was not incidental but part of a recurring pattern, Blake charged. The police commissioner noted that it was not unusual within the ranks of the police forces for members with fewer years of service to hold higher ranks than some with greater years of service. He said Cameron benefited from this when, as a corporal in 2002, he was selected for the graduate entry program and promoted to assistant superintendent upon completion. He immediately assumed the command over officers who were at the time far senior to him in both rank and age. Cameron's application for leave to seek a judicial review of Blake's attempt to remove him as chairman of the POA is scheduled to be heard in the Supreme Court on October 29. Guys, thanks for watching. Please join us this afternoon at 2 p.m. for another news update.